everyone, it's Sally and welcome to my Fun with Procreate demonstration video. So Procreate is an app that you can purchase from the App Store on your iPad. So these little things are all called apps. And this is the App Store right here. So you can go there to get the Procreate app and download it onto your iPad. So this is a product that is only for Apple. So you wouldn't be able to use it on a tablet. It has to be an Apple iPad. And this is, here, I'm just going to move this closer. So see the App Store there? There's the App Store. Oops. This is the App Store, and this is the app that you want to download. It's called Procreate. You can get one for your iPhone as well, but it doesn't have the capabilities of the one on the iPad. And I don't think you need a pencil for the one on the phone, but it's not, in my opinion, I mean, I have it on my iPhone, but you can do way more things on your iPad than you can on your phone. So the first thing I'm going to show you, well, let's answer some questions first. Why would a calligrapher need Procreate? And how could they use it in their calligraphy or lettering projects? I'm going to show you some pictures of projects that I've done so you can get an idea of the things that you can do. And also it could be a very useful tool for say making your Christmas cards. If you were going to the Christmas party and you were part of the Christmas card exchange, you could put 4 cards on the screen and then print them off. Or you could send that in a PDF to your printer to print off. Another reason you might want to use Procreate is, where am I here? Is to really fine-tune your lettering projects. So for instance, do I have an example of that? Maybe this one here. So if you were drawing out your letters on your iPad inside the Procreate app, you can really zero in on your lettering and fix it up, like fix it on the sides and stuff. And I'll show you that in a minute. So back to these other photos here so you can see the different techniques that I've used it for. So here is a piece of art that I did. So this is a collage that I made out of jelly plate printed papers. And then I took a photograph of this collage and then I put it into the Procreate app. And then I put lettering on top of the collage. And there's a picture of how that one turned out. So there's lots of interesting things that you can do with this app. Back to that. Oops. So this is a card that I made for Christmas one year. So I started out with, this is a watercolor background that I did on a piece of watercolor paper. I took a photo of it and then I inserted that into the app. And then I started to draw my snowman on top of that watercolor paper. And then the snowflakes in the back, that's a brush mark that you can put right over your watercolor. And I'll show you that in a minute here, how to do that. So that's how I did that one. And then I just wrote Peace on Earth. And then, you know, you can imagine how you could erase and just keep writing it, get it perfected the way you want it. It's way different than paper because you you don't have to commit because you know you can erase it digitally. And then when it's ready, you can just print it off. So that's one of the really cool things, one of the many cool things about the Procreate app. So just a few other little projects here that I thought you might like to see. This was a little Mother's Day project that I did. And I've asked you to, for those of you that have the app, I asked you to bring a picture. Was it a fall picture? Yeah, so I'm going to show you how to do something similar to this, only it's going to be done on a piece of art, and you can try it on your photograph that you brought. So how I did this was I inserted, I went to the Bouchard Garden for Mother's Day, and they had the most amazing tulips everywhere there. So I took a photo of a bunch of tulips, and then I put it into the Procreate app, and then just using the eraser tool inside the Procreate app, I erased the white. You put a layer on top of your photo and then you erase it to form your letters, and that's how that was done. So in a minute here, I will do a little demonstration of that. This is one that I did for New Year's. What else is here? This was another one, black and white one that I did. And then this one was done with a brush that I imported off of the internet. So you can actually get free brushes, or you can buy brushes off of the internet for the app itself. So I have two free brushes that I downloaded into my app, and I'll show you where you can go for those same brushes, because this one is a really nice brush to work with, I found. And there's that. Maybe that was that same brush that I used for this one. Another really cool feature of the Procreate app is it draws straight lines and circles for you if you want it to. And I will show you that in a minute here. Some of you have probably seen this little project that I did. It was in the word display that we had at the one of the galleries downtown there. But this is what it looks like on a piece of paper after I got this done. So I put a piece of cardstock into my printer, and then I was able to print that off onto this cardstock. So you could make your Christmas cards inside the Procreate app as well. What else have I got here? Yeah, so this was the photo of a piece of art that I did, and I inserted this into the app, and then I blocked out areas on it, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And you could follow along too with a photograph that you have if you have the app. So, and then you saw this one. This came out in the email newsletter. So you can just insert photos of your art right into the app, and you can make little advertisements, kind of like, I don't know, some of you have probably heard of that other app that has a lot of creative capabilities as well. It's called Canva. So I often use Canva and Procreate together depending on what it is I'm doing. Okay, so I'm in my Procreate app. So how I got there was this is my home page, and I just touch on this little icon here because that's the Procreate where we need to go. So I'm going to click on that, and then all my projects come up inside of here. So yeah, each one of these is a project that I've been working on, and you can actually rename them. So you should actually, to stay organized, give them a name. So let's call this one Fun with Procreate. Done. Okay, so if I wanted to stack, say these two are the same project, so I can select them and I can stack them on top of each other. So I just push this button up here that says stack, and it just keeps things a little more organized, right? So yeah, so this is another example of a project that I did. This one was done for the Red Deer Arts Council. So the cool thing about this one is it's a combination of a watercolor painting and digital art. So I was able to take a watercolor painting, put it into the app, and then change things digitally. Because the app has so many capabilities, you can do paint surfaces like it to make it look like watercolor paint, which is a really cool feature. So that's that, and you can import different files. This is where you would, after you download your brushes off of the internet, you can import them into the app. So that's that. And then if you want, you can go to photo and select your photos that way. But there's many ways of doing it, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. I find with a lot of the technology out there, there's always a workaround, because inevitably you go to do something and it doesn't work, or your device isn't doing what you want it to do. So then you got to discover a workaround. We should talk a little bit about the pencil. So this is an Apple Pencil, and you do need this for Procreate. So this is just a little plastic gripping device that somebody gave me for my pencil, and it keeps the lid on too. So it's nice to have this on here to keep it from rolling around. I mean, it does roll around a little bit, but it stays still on the table because this pencil's quite heavy and it just has a tendency to just roll off. So you do need the iPad pencil. So let's begin by me showing you how I did that snowman Christmas card. So I'm going to start a new project. So anytime you start a new project, all you do is you push the plus button. So this is the plus button. And these are all the different sizes of projects and the actual sizes that you could select for your project. So a lot of times I'm working on what I call paper, and it's an 11 by 8.5 size. So then I can just print it through my printer. I'm going to go back to that here. I have something else to show you. So if I go here, oh, no, that's not going to work. I'm going to start another project to show you what you can do here. So these are all the different sizes, but you can create your own size too. So right up here where there's this little plus button, you just do that, and you can do it in pixels, you can do it in inches, centimeters, millimeters. So that's another option, dots, and you can control the dots per inch on it, which is really cool. Let's see if I can change this. So I could change it to like 600 or something like that. You can alter the width and the height. So sometimes, you know, if you're an artist and you're doing a submission for an exhibition, they'll ask you for a certain size photo, so you can manipulate the photo by choosing these ahead of time, and your photo is going to come out that size when you send it in an email or whatever, right? Okay, so let's go back. So so you can move this around. So it could be like a horizontal design, it could be a vertical design. This is really the beauty of this app, one of the many features. But let's go back to this one. So I have my 11 by 8.5 inch screen here. And I'm going to show you how I did the snowman. So I'm going to, this little thing up here is a gear button. See, it looks like it looks like a wrench. So it's like a tool, not a gear, a tool, a wrench. So you can insert a file, you can insert a photo, you can take a photo, you can add text, you can cut, copy canvas. The one that I use most is insert a photo. So I'm going to touch on that, and then I'm going to click that photo of the watercolor paper. I'm just going to try and get rid of that at the bottom. So there's my watercolor paper, and I just have that in there ready to go. So now I'm going to try and find the brush for that snowflake is called Elements. So see how here it says Driven Snow? So I'm going to click on that, and it gives you a picture of what that's going to look like, the texture. So I'm going to click. So I have it in there now. So the snow needs to be white, right? And if you see up here, this is the color that's currently on there. So it's kind of like a dark teal green. So I need to change that to white. So up here you have some more tools, and I use this one a lot. This is the color picker, and there's many different ways in here that you can choose colors. So here's a color wheel. So say I want green, I just move this around to here, and then you can choose like a tint or a shade of green. So you can change the colors just with this color wheel. See how this is changing up here? Let's go to bright pink so you can really see it. Oh, that didn't work. There we go. So right there is the color that is on there right now. So if I was to, I could change the color of my background if I wanted to, but I don't want to. So I'm just going to erase that. Did you see how I did that? There's a back button here. So I could put it back on there, or I can take it off. So we need this to be white. So I'm just going to click white. So now we need to click on our tool. This is our brush, our tool, our writing tool, our brush tool, our drawing tool. This is what you use for everything. So now we're going to be doing Driven Snow, right? And it's going to be white. So you can control how big the snowflakes are over here. This is a resizer button for whatever elements you're putting on here, or lettering or whatever. So I'll show you what that looks like. So if I go if I bring the scale way down and then I go over top of it, you can barely see it, right? Or my Apple Pencil is dead. There it is. It's not my pencil. So now you can see it. So there's my snow. That's how I created my background for my snowman. So I'm just going to, I need a reference photo to see all what I did here. So this is my little snowman, and I can get rid of that after I'm done here. But it's nice to have a reference for what it is you're working on. So now I'm going to change my pen because I'm not working with snow anymore. So I go back to the pen, and I need more of a drawing tool now, right? So let's go calligraphy, and let's choose monoline. So that's the line that's going to come up now that we can draw with. And I want the line to be black. So this is not going to look exactly like this, just for demonstration purposes. So you can see, or can you see that? Yes. Okay, good. So there's my little mound of snow. And then I'm going to draw the bottom of the snowman. Oh, you see how that was a little bit lopsided? Well, guess what? I can erase that because there's an eraser button right here. So I'm going to click on that, and I can just erase it. And you can make the erase area larger too. So if I bring this all the way up to the top, it'll erase it really fast. Look at that. But I don't want it erased, so I'm going to put it back there. But I do kind of want to erase this side here, make it a little bit straighter. Okay, and then I go back to my pen like that, and then I will draw another snowball here, and then another one. Oops, that's not going to be a good shape. So this is really the beauty of this app and how you can change and manipulate everything on it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in these shapes with white. So back up to my circle up here, I'm going to click on this, my white, and then I'm going to bring it into each one of these shapes. So the reason that white escaped outside of this shape here is because it wasn't completely enclosed. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to change that black back on there. And I'm going to make sure that my little snowball head doesn't have any broken lines in it, so the white can't escape. There's a broken line here. I need to fix that. I think that looks pretty good. So let's go back to the white, and we're gonna put that in there, put that in there, and oh, it escaped again. Okay, that's not gonna work. So will it work this time? No. So I can't get it to work, and I'm not sure why. So what I could do is, there's always a workaround. Let's make this, so I'm still working with the monoline brush. So I'm going to make it really big, and I'm just going to color in this area to get it filled in. So you get an idea of the different things that you can do with this app. So I believe I have my time-lapse video filming this, and I can check that up here. So see where it says video? So I have time-lapse recording on. So it's going to be recording this whole video. Well, let's see if it is. I just pushed a button there. Okay. Okay, maybe I have to do that at the end. So I don't even know how to operate all the functions of this app because there's so many of them. So once I got the app, what I did was I took an online class. So some places that, or you could just watch YouTube videos. So the class that I took was a paid class. I think I paid like under $20 for it. And let me just write it on here. It's like an online university. It's called, oh, that's too big. Let's make it smaller. Oh, bigger than that. It's called Udemy. Udemy. So that's one place you can take courses from. There's so many. And then there's another one. I think it's probably on this one as well. Skillshare.com. So you could go to either one of those and find information about a class on how to use Procreate. Okay, so that's that. Now I can get rid of that. I can just go back. Okay, so now we have our snowman. I'm just gonna fix this snowball here. And then I gave him some arms. Those were brown. Let's see if I have a brown color here. Kind of like that. So I'm just going to, so let's make his thickness of this line weight a little bit thicker. So can you imagine yourself doing maybe some monoline lettered Christmas cards now using this app? How cool would that be, hey? It's great if you have a bunch of cards to do. Okay, so there's his arms. Now I'm going to give him a nose and a mouth. Okay, so there's his mouth and his carrot nose. And now I can put some, oh, we need to color the bottom of this white too. Well, let's see if we can fill that in with the white. Nope. Yeah, so there was another broken line down here, so that's not going to happen. Let me see if I can fix that. So back to here. I'm exaggerating this. Okay, so let's see if we can put white in there now, if that's going to work for us. No. Oh, yeah, so there's a broken line here. So, yeah, that's not going to work. So we're just going to, oops. That needs to be black. So let's just color that in. Okay, let's see if we can get white in there now. And I don't have to color it in. Da-da-da-da, yay. And then I also added in some shading at the bottom here. So how you do that is you just choose a different brush. So for instance, what did I use for this one? It was probably maybe painting. It was so long ago that I made this. Let's try this. Oh, it's gonna have to be gray. So we're gonna make it gray. Okay. So if I, oops, that's not gonna work. Yeah, it needs to be more of like a watercolor brush. Let's see here. Maybe water bleed or water wash. Let's try that. Nope, it's not working. So maybe water bleed. Yeah, that's a little better. So you can just go down here and make some shadows. Something like that. This was much nicer, but you get the idea, right? And then back to my black, I can do my monoline lettering inside here. So this is why, ooh, wrong brush. So I need to go back to my monoline. So that was under calligraphy. And then, so you go, so that's a good size for a line weight for my letters, I think. Maybe what you want to do first is just put the A in there. So you see how much space you have to work with. And then the C. And then the E. And then another E over here. And then there's a little heart in here too. Let's give the snowman a heart. Something like that. Peace. So you can imagine how much manipulation I did to get these letters to look good. So there's my O on, and then maybe I'll put my A here. My R could go up in there. Maybe I'll make that rounded. I mean, you can try lots of different things because you're not working on paper, right? Once this is done, I'm going to print it off on my printer. So you can play around, erase, redo. It's really amazing. I can't say enough about this app. So for instance, if I looked at this closely and I thought, oh yeah, there's some little things that need to be fixed here. So some of this, so I can just take my eraser, which is this one here, and just go like this, and it's going to erase, and it's not erasing. Why is it not erasing? My pen might be dead. Let's try. We can also do it with white. So let's see if we can color over that. We can. So there's a workaround. There's always a workaround, which I love about this. So you can use that to fix up little imperfections on your piece of art. And that's how I did this one. Oh, yeah, so I actually put some more snow. Oh, I'm just going to fix this O here. I did put another layer of snow over top of this because you can see the snow on top of the snowman. So let's do that. So back to my my tool, my brush, and back to elements. This one here and the snow. Okay, and then you just go right over top. So it's going to cover some of his arms and body. And that's how I did that one. So are you getting some good ideas on how you could use this app to make a whole bunch of Christmas cards? Wow. So cool. Yeah, so I got carried away with my snow. Now you can't even read what this says, but it's calligraphy, right? So let's try another activity. So, first, before we do that, let's see if it made a recording of this. Okay, so we'll play video. Off. Okay, nope. Time-lapse replay. Here we go. It taped that whole little project that I just made. Yeah, so that's how I did the maple leaf one that you saw earlier. Okay, so click that. So let's go back to our gallery and start another project. So, and then I can rename this one. So to rename it, I just click on it and then I go Christmas card or whatever you want to call it. Oh yes, and I should show you how to get rid of this image over here too. So every time you add into this project, it's adding another layer. So if we go over here, these are the layers over here you can see. So the background is the white, and then I put my watercolor painting photo in there, and then I put my snow on top, and then I drew on, so this was done on the same layer as the snowman. See, so now I can't get rid of it just by pushing this because it's going to get rid of everything. So what is the workaround for that? The workaround is, I'm just going to erase this. Oh, I got to get a different brush on here. Calligraphy. Okay. So let's get rid of this. But if you want to get rid of something in a hurry, you got to do it in layers. Yeah, so many times I've struggled with the layer thing, thinking I've got a second layer on top and I don't, then I have to start the whole project from scratch. But it's a lot quicker starting on a digital rather than a piece of paper. Okay, so back to gallery. So you can also delete any of these projects, and how you do that is you just use your finger and you just, oh no, that didn't work. Just swipe it to the left and just go delete. There you go. So what else can I show you here? So this is one of my classes that I did. So this is my reference photo, and this is great if you are like a watercolor painter and you don't want to try and draw something out. Mind you, I did draw this out freehand, but if you wanted to, and I'll just show you on this as an example. So if I wanted to do this painting of my cat Precious, aside from this over here, I could do that I could do a line drawing and then transfer my line drawing to my watercolor paper, and I'll show you how to do that. So if I click over here, I can add another layer. So I'm going to click that layer, and then you're going to, I'm going to change this to black, and then I'm going to go, ooh, that's too big. I'm going to go around all the elements in my photograph. This is what I do in my watercolor class. If anybody's interested in doing watercolor, I teach out of my house on Mondays. And we do a little project every week, kind of like this, all kinds of stuff. So you just go right over top of all your images here. This is just a fast version of this. And then you can get rid of the photograph underneath. So I just go up to layers here, and I just get rid of the photograph. And then I'm left with the line drawing, which I print off on my printer. And then I transfer that onto my watercolor paper with like a light table. So let's get that back. So to get rid of this, I just click off of that. And to get this photo back, I just do click on here. So that's another way you can use Procreate. So let's go back in here and start another project. So let's just do screen size. So some of you had brought a photo to work on. So I thought we could try this project here. So you insert your photo into the app, and then you create your letters around the photo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my photo. So insert my photo. So this is my photo here. And then, like, you can make it whatever size you want. I'm just making it this size just because I want to. Okay, so now, so there's a couple different ways you can do this. So let's see what happens if that's not going to work. So we need white. We need white ink. So I could do it this way, right? Let's make this a little thicker. I could go through this and go like this or whatever, however I'm going to do my letters, right? That's one way of doing it. Or how I did this one here was, I got to get rid of that first. I put another layer over top. So go to my layers, add another layer over top, and we're going to fill that layer with white. And then we're going to push the erase button because we want to get our image back with using our eraser. Whoopsie, that's too big. So here we go. So this is how you're going to make your letters with your image that you put in there. You're just going to touch on the eraser and draw out your letters by erasing the layer on top is what I'm doing. So there's my H. So if I want to get rid of this line here, I can just fill it in by going back to my pencil and drawing white over top of it. So the app is something like all technology, you just kind of got to play with it to get a feel for how it works. Erase. So there's my H. So you can, look how detailed you could get, right? If you wanted to blow this up. So my eraser mark is pretty big, so I can actually reduce that so that it's smaller and more defined. Like look at how small this line could really be. You could get it really detailed. So I'm just going to get rid of that. that's too small. And this is too big. But just for demonstration purposes, right? Oh, do I have this set on the right? Yeah, okay. Oops. So I need the eraser. It's giving me a white line now, but let's get rid of that. And I'm going to erase. So my next one's going to be an O. There's my O. Let's fine tune this. Just going to fix this up. There's my O. And my P. And let's make that a little bit bigger. And my E. So for those of you that don't have the Procreate app yet, and you do have the Apple products, I'm hoping that you're seeing the value of this really fantastic app. So I think it's like $18 to buy. But it's very useful because I use it for doing documents too. Like you can manipulate documents, which is kind of convenient. Okay, so there's my word hope. And then now I'm going to go and add some details to it. So I'm going to go back to my pen and I'm going to add the P, the middle of the P here. And I'm going to add, oh, there's a little heart here too. There's two hearts in this O. And then I'm going to draw around my letters with my monoline tool using the black ink. Oh, that's too thick. So I have to reduce the size of my line. So you can do straight lines in this app too. I'll show you how to do that. So let's say this is my line. Did you see that? All you do is you hold down your tool. So if this is my line, you hold down your tool to keep it straight, to make it straight. I'll show you that again. So here's my straight line and it straightens itself out. So you can also do circles. How beautiful is that? Let's do another little circle inside of the circle. Just by holding down the pen. So let's do a square. Now, how do we do a square? Do we have to do it all in one motion? Oh, that's not a square. Let's see. We might have to do this. Wait. No, that's not going to work. So we could do this. Make a line. Make another straight line. Make another straight line. Another straight line. There's our square. So yeah, there's so many different applications for this. Let's get rid of that. And you can also get rid of items by clicking on them too. So let's say I drew this just by tapping twice. Oops. So you could use the go back button or you could tap it twice. I'll show you that again. Let's use a bigger tool here so you can really see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to draw. No, I'm not. Sometimes there's a delay for the app. Okay, so there we go. And then I'm going to want to get rid of that. I go, oops, just like that. Okay, so sorry, I always get sidetracked. Back to my hope. Okay, so Now I'm going to do my, oh, wrong tool. I need my monoline tool. So now, oh, for heaven's sake. So there's a delay. There we go. Is that going to work? Yes, it is. Okay. So now I'm going to go through here. I don't know that I want this really straight because I want this to be kind of organic looking. Okay. So that's how I did that Mother's Day photo that I showed you earlier. Same kind of technique. You just erase to create the letters. So if you were to do a piece of calligraphy, you could take a photo of it, insert it into the app, and then you could make minor changes to it. Like you could really blow it up and fine tune all the little edges of your letters and then print it off. Or maybe you're doing a piece of digital art and you don't have to print it off. So over here, okay, so I should show you a few other things that this app can do. So let's just go back to here. We're going to get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to insert another photo. Insert a photo. What could I put in here? How about just these fall leaves? So if I wanted to, see, there's all kinds of stuff down here too. These are more tools. So you can go flip vertical. Here, I'm going to reduce this so you can see what I'm doing here. So flip horizontal, flip vertical, rotate, fit to canvas. I'm not sure what this one is, bilinear. I haven't used that one. So reset. We could warp. So if we want to warp it, okay, let me see if I can remember how to do this. I might not be able to. Oops. Okay, no, that's not what I want. Let's get off of there. So if we go here, oops. Okay, let's get rid of this black line. So if I click on the arrow up here, and I want to warp this, I just grab this here. And look at this. You can just like, can you imagine all the different things that you can do with this app? Like, it's so cool. Okay, so that's warp, and then you could distort. Oh, that's not distorting. It's already distorted. Can I get that back? Yes. So, well, we could just tap on it, right? There we go. So let's go back to that. So freeform is, I could move it around. So I touch the arrow and freeform, and you can reposition or grab it on the little green dot and flip it, move it around, whatever you want to do, right? Distort. Nope, that's not going to distort. Oh, yes, it is. I just had to touch the edge of it. So that's distort and then warp. So curving it. Yeah, that is to me so interesting that it does that. So some other tools. This one down here is opacity. Uh-oh, I got low battery. Okay, just a second here. Okay, I'm all plugged in now. So now, okay, so this is opacity. So how does this one work? Okay, it may not work on here. We might have to put like a letter in there or something. So let's get rid of this. And let's just, we're going to choose a different, no, it's not working. cancel. Let's just do another layer. Okay, here we go. That's really cool brush tool, isn't it? So if I want to change that, the opacity of it, can I do that? Just by going over it? No. Oh, yes. See? So what I should have done was, before I started drawing that, change the opacity of the brush. So I'll show you what I meant. Okay, so let's get rid of this. Okay, so I'm going to draw again that same paint mark, but I'm going to change the opacity of it. So it's not going to be as dark. So I'm going to move this down. So you get, that's another thing that it does. It almost looks like a sketch, doesn't it? Okay, let's get rid of that. So yeah, this is letter size, or line size, or brush size. So another thing that you can do is you can add text. Okay, so there's my lettering. So if I want to edit that, I just go edit style. Oh, did that show up on the screen there? Yeah. So you have all these different fonts that you could put in there. Like if you're doing a little advertisement or whatever and you needed a cool font. So I could change it to maybe this one here. So and you can change the size of it. There's all kinds of things you can do in here with this. Tracking. I'm not sure what all of these do, but it's just really, once you get the app, just experiment with it to see what it's going to do. And just play with it. That's how you learn, through play. Okay, so yeah, you can play around with the text, change the color of the text, change the opacity of the text. This is a blending tool right here. So let's go back to that mark, this one here. So, and it's on black. So if I just draw with this, okay, I got to create another layer. Okay, layer 7. Oh, I want that a little darker. And then I go to blend. It's like, you know how you see a charcoal pencil and you're blending the edges of it? Like how cool is that? Like you could do something with your letters that way. The other thing that I was going to show you was brushes. So I imported some brushes. Where are they here? Imported. So these are the 2 brushes that I imported off of a website called radandhappy.com. So if you type in the Google search bar, let me just write it here for you. You would type, okay, that brush isn't working. Something's happening. Okay. Let's try the other one. Sometimes they don't work and there's no reasonable explanation for it. So the website is Rad and Happy. So you would type in Google, you'd go Rad and Happy free brushes. Something like that. And then it's going to come up. Maybe her website comes up and then you might have to do a little bit of a search inside of her website. But yeah, that's where I got those 2 brushes from. So back to those photos that I showed you earlier. This one was done with one of the Rad and Happy brushes. And then this was the other one. So I did like a combination, of the 2. And same with this one. One more thing that I forgot to show you that's kind of important, I think, is how to send this file somewhere. So you go back to the little wrench icon up here, and these are all the different ways you can send it. A PSD, PDF, JPEG, PNG, TIFF. I don't really know what some of these are, but if you want to just send your image, you can send it in a PDF or a JPEG, and you just click on it, right? So it prepares it to export, and then you can, maybe you're airdropping it, maybe you're sending it to iMessage, maybe you're sending it to mail. You just click that, and then you just put whoever's email address in there, and it just sends it. So yeah, you gotta love Procreate. Thanks for watching my demonstration, and I look forward to seeing some of your Procreate projects. Bye for now.